next game. If you're going to make a coaching change, I think it needs to be this week. I don't think if it makes it any later, it's going to make a difference. So I think there's going to be coaching changes coming. Detroit Rick, what do you think?
I'm not going to make a coaching change. You know what? He's going to have, even if this year, if we end up being 1-16, he's going to get it. Oh, there she is. Bless her heart. Is that what everybody saying?
I knew I could distract him. It's so easy.
You were talking about Huckleberry Hound, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Are there coaching changes coming before next week, Detroit Rick?
No. Yeah. I don't think we'll see any of it.
Neil says no.
You're talking about defensive coordinators and offense coordinators and quarterback coaches and defensive coaches.
If this ship doesn't start heading in the right direction, I don't think anybody will lose their job before the end of this season, because that just tells everybody that you gave up.
Welcome to another week of Rain City Roar. I am Butler.
I'm Neil. And Detroit Rick will not be joining us today.
No.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
We are short Detroit Rick, literally and figuratively. I honestly didn't mean to play that clip. That was supposed to be for later. I clicked the wrong button. So we can talk about that in a little bit, but that just goes to prove that you're not always right.
Do you just want to get it out of your system right now and just say what?
No, I'd like to save it for for later. We're back. Jump in the chat, you guys. Is definitely a game we can talk about today. It wasn't like one of those games where nothing happened, right, Neil?
No, not at all. This was probably one of the more exciting, low-scoring games that I remember ever watching. Like the defense, holy crap, the defense played great today. Kirby Joseph, we're going to talk a lot about that young man today. Hutchinson got himself an interception. Aaron Rodgers threw 3 interceptions. We didn't get screwed over at any point in the game because of flags or anything like that. Dude, I want to tell you a story. Real quick. So that last play happens. Lion, everything's cool. Yada yada yada. Well, the audio in the bar. We had audio today.
Oh, nice.
And, like we could hear everything that was being said. But I didn't realize that they switched the audio over to the Seahawks game. So the last play happens where Rodgers throws and it's incomplete, and then all of a sudden I hear over the radio or over the speakers they say, "Well, let's see what this flag is about." And I'm like, "You gotta be shitting me! What happened?"
You're losing your shit.
And then I realized that they were talking about the Seahawks game. So, that one threw me for a loop today a little bit.
Well, it was actually the thing that I thought was going to screw us this time was a lack of a call, because, boy, that fumble recovery was right on the edge. But
it was.
I mean, it was overall, I think it was I'd like to see that go the other way more often than it does. I mean, for us, you know what I mean? Like, if it's going to be that quick of a call, and they're just going to move on and they're not going to review it up in the booth, we need to see that more on our end.
Well, there were a couple things that happened today that, and all within the last couple minutes those were prime opportunities that historically we would have just counted on us not getting the good end of it. The one where the ball was touched by the Lions defender out of bounds, which great call. Like I literally told everybody that I was sitting with today that if Green Bay gets the ball, or if the spot of that ball is the first down where it was recovered, I'm not watching another football game again this season. So I'm still here, and we're still watching football games. So I was really happy about that one. And then that other one where they went for it and the fumble happened and they were trying to all scramble for it out of bounds. That was another one where they could have. They made the right calls. The refs were not an issue. They weren't a factor today, which is how a football game should be, right?
Right. Well, I wish they'd have been more of an issue. Aaron and Rodgers always plays it close to the play clock, but I have a good visual later of where it was actually 1.5 seconds after the clock hit 0, and I understand that 1,000 right or whatever, but 3 times minimum, maybe 4, that he should have had to delay a game. So,
well, the way that they normally call it, the way that's normally explained is the refs will watch the play clock. once the play clock hits 0, then they'll look at the quarterback and they'll see where the ball is. So there's some leeway in there, but yeah, I'm happy that none of that came back to bite us. I really am. The turnovers in the red zone today, I want to talk about those. Like, huge.
Well, before we do that, we had a couple. I don't know what happened last week. We had some. I don't know what happened, but if you guys are watching on any other platforms, YouTube seems to be fine. Any other platforms, including our Facebook pages, come on over to Detroit Sports Nation for us and interact there, because we had some questions slip through the cracks last week. So, also we should tell everybody, Neil, the bad news.
Yeah. So, first off,
in the room.
We definitely appreciate all you guys tuning in every week. It's nice seeing everybody from all the different social platforms and stuff. And I will say that you'll notice that we're a little bit shorter on people today.
Literally and figuratively.
We had to make a really difficult decision, and Detroit Rick is no longer part of the crew. There was an incident where he was drinking a little bit, and he ended up fist fighting a police officer in the Walmart parking lot. And he's currently, I don't want to spill the beans out there, but he's currently in jail. But so now that that's out there, I don't want to really talk anymore about it. I don't want to really field any questions about it. But yeah, that was a completely irresponsible thing that he did. We don't condone it, and I hope that he can figure his stuff out. But we're here. So.
I'm sorry, I couldn't keep it any longer. We didn't fire you.
Rick's not in jail. He didn't fist fight anybody. He's
if he got fired for fist fighting a cop in the parking lot, he'd get promoted.
Rick's completely fine. He'll be back next week. Nothing happened. He's just on. He went to a wedding out of state.
You guys can believe this? Rick is, of course, he is. He's a pastor and he does people's weddings. Which I don't know who would let Detroit Rick do their wedding besides somebody like me. But, they're out there.
I can't believe I kept it mostly straight face.
Dude, that was pretty good. That's why I let you do it. I couldn't keep it that long. No. So for all you Detroit Rick fans, which I know that's a lot of you guys, he's still here. So we're just messing with you.
So real quick, do we want to talk about kind of the new direction that we're taking the show in a little bit?
Sure. All
right. So one of the big things with doing the shows here on Detroit Sports Nation is one of their whole purposes for their approach to things is giving the fans a voice. And we try to bring up the comments from Facebook, Twitter, from YouTube as they come up, but sometimes it's a little bit lagging, and I feel like we could do a better job with that to get you guys to be involved in the show. So what we're going to start to do, and we're going to try to pilot it today. So everybody that's here right now, you are the guinea pigs. We are going to ask you to be part of the show. So if anybody would like to actually come on here, and there are some internet requirements and stuff. If you're in a 4G area, it's probably not going to work too great, but worst case scenario, we at least get the audio in here, and we treat it like an actual call-in sports talk show. So if anybody does want to take part in this today, please hit us in the comments here, and then Butler will coordinate actually getting you on the show.
Yeah, just all we're asking is you have a decent upload speed. If you don't want to do video, when you join it, you'll have an option to turn your video off. If you want to have video, great. But otherwise, you'll just come up with a microphone and your audio will be through there. So if you want to do that, I'm going to put my email out there. Do you have an email for us?
I think I do. I don't remember what it is, though. I think I got Green City War podcast.
I'll tell you guys what. Oh, shit, we can't delete them from there. If you want to come on today, drop your email in the chat, and I'll send you a link. Okay. If you don't want to,
we got to find a better way to do it than that. We got to find a better way.
Well, let's talk about the game, and if we can't do it this week, we'll do it. But if somebody's willing to do it, which I would be, I don't care. In fact, if you guys want to send me an email, shit, my email is. Oh, I have a good email actually. Hold on a second. Let me see if okay. It's JONTHOMAS Butler@gmail.com. So now you guys know my name and where I'm from. John Thomas Butler, one word, @gmail.com. So if you want to send me your email, I will send you a link, and you can just email me there and tell me that we suck too. That's fine. I don't care.
And I'll try to. I know I made an email at one point, but or if you guys are on Twitter or Facebook, you can just message us directly through the Facebook or Twitter page, and we can send you the link through there.
There you go. Let's
Oh, that's
after
true.
I gave my email out. Nice work.
Yeah, no problem. I got you, buddy.
Let's answer a question real quick from one of our first Rain City Roar fellas and a friend of ours. He's actually a very good friend and probably the fourth member of Rain City Roar, as far as I'm concerned. Was Aaron off today, or was the defense finally looking what we expected this Hard Knocks? Ooh, you can take that one, Neil.
Aaron Rodgers hasn't been himself this season, and he hasn't been producing like himself this season. So I'll say that, whether that be the supporting cast that's around him, whether that be the offensive line battling injuries or whatever it might be, the offensive line and the receivers' questionable hands did not throw a ball off of our player's helmet today. The offensive line and his supporting cast did not throw that ball directly into Aiden Hutchinson's hands. The offensive line and supporting cast did not throw the third interception to Kirby Joseph. So I will say that a lot of it I would put on the overall performance of the defense today. I don't know what got into those guys. We obviously, Butler played the clip at the beginning of the show because I have a feeling that he wants to say that.
Wait, hold on a second. I think we've got to watch that clip again. Hold on one second.
Oh, here we go.
Let's ask the question here: are there coaching changes coming before next game? If you're going to make a coaching change, I think it needs to be this week. I don't think if it makes it any later, it's going to make a difference. So I think there's going to be coaching changes coming. Detroit Rick, what do you think?
I'm not going to make a coaching change. You know what? He's going to have, even if this year, if we end up being 1-16, he's going to get it. Oh, there she is. Bless her heart. Is that everybody saying?
I knew I could distract him. It's so easy.
You were talking about Huckleberry Hound, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Are there coaching changes coming before next week, Detroit Rick?
No. Yeah. I don't think we'll see any of it.
Neil says no.
You're talking about defensive coordinators and offense coordinators and quarterback coaches and defensive coaches.
If this ship doesn't start heading in the right direction, I don't think anybody will lose their job before the end of this season, because that just tells everybody that you gave up. What are you doing? Stop it.
That didn't quite have the dramatic effect that I wanted, all right? Back off. So, first of all, before we even start in the game, we already kind of got into it a little bit. Coaching changes happened, and we're just about to talk about it. We're talking about the defense. Deshaun sent a nice question over. We did make a coaching change, and then who did we change? We changed to, if anybody was going to go, it was Aubrey. So he goes, and then the defensive safeties and the corners really stepped up today.
Yeah, they did big time, and that's...
Wait. Don't you want to say something?
No, I think you want to say something.
No, I think you want to tell me that something like I'm right.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to
I know you weren't. I was just seeing if you wanted to say it before you go on.
I was going to let you say it. Good call. Hey.
It never works the way I want it to work. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
You were right, Butler.
That's fine. That's kind of what I wanted. I just want something I can clip later and then put it in whenever I need it. That was good. Without the rolling the eyes would be better.
No.
All right, go ahead. Sorry. So the defense in the corner stepped up.
To see that group play out of their minds like they did today, especially considering that was the position coach that lost his job this week. Good for those guys. Because they didn't give up. That would have been a really easy thing to do, saying, "Hey, we just lost our coach. Screw this shit. We got Aaron Rodgers coming into town." Like the deck was stacked against them going into today, and holy shit, did those guys play?
It goes one of two ways, right? It goes either they play because they're doubted and their coach is gone, they play for their coach, or they play for the new coach. I mean, and yeah, they play either way, but it can go either way, and it went really well today. I mean, they played really well. I mean, the red zone against A-Raj was killer.
Oh man, that was the first time in his career that he threw multiple interceptions, had multiple turnovers in the red zone in his career. Was today.
Yep.
And good on those guys for wreaking as much havoc as they did and staying moving and whatnot. We still aren't at a point where we're effectively blitzing at all. The pressure was just coming from the front four, and we had some. It was nice to see them stay relatively disciplined. There was only one play that I remember seeing on the replays. I think it was in the third or fourth quarter. It was definitely in the second half where Rodgers threw it short and to the left for the first down. But if he would have looked at the middle of the field, holy crap, he had two guys just running wild there. There was nobody around them at all. But other than that play, everything was done really well. There was some friendly fire incidents today.
Yeah, there was one I had here. I got a good one. Let me see if I can find it. Good as garbage, can't make play on a receiver, but can completely annihilate his teammate from Ryan Souter. At RRY Dog 1. Yeah, nailed it, buddy. He hit both those guys really hard. But
was it him that hit both people?
Yeah, it was two times. So I mean, I don't know. He's been struggling a little bit, but I mean, I don't know. Let's talk about Goff. How much more of this do I need to put up with, Neil? I can't take it anymore. I mean that. I can't take it anymore. I don't know what to do. Bring anybody in. Bring in somebody who didn't draft last year. Bring in anybody in quarterback. Because okay, so the first couple games we're arguing, he had put up a bunch of points per game, right? The offense is doing great. He puts up 15 points this game, and now not even really 15, right? He puts up how many last game and 0 the game before. I mean, look, Goff has got to go.
He's not the guy. I don't think that he's the guy. Unless he returns to early season form through those first 4 games this season, I think that we need to look at options for quarterbacks. I don't feel good at the end of a game knowing that the ball's in his hands. you know?
Today was a great example of it.
I was sitting there with a good friend of mine today watching the game, and he's a Packers fan, and he was absolutely fine going into that last drive. And we're all just sitting there looking around.
Was this him?
Him, yeah. Bill.
That was him at halftime, so he wasn't fine going in the last drive.
No, he was all right in the last drive because he was like, let's go. We got Aaron Rodgers. Like he's gonna figure this out. He was calling a Hail Mary win from like the second quarter today.
Well, of course it's Rodgers. Real quick. Here, Don says, how the hell do you let Rodgers run for first and third on 20? It is what it is. People are bitching all these 2 yards past the line of scrimmage. If you're in the heat of the game, you don't know where he's at when he throws that pump fake. Fine. I get it. You're right, though. He shouldn't run for first and third for 20 yards. But then right after that, Don says, don't draft a QB, okay? I don't think we should draft a QB either. I think we should pull a QB that's existing out there and who hasn't had a lot of experience with any other teams and mold him to our program. What do we got to lose at this point? Nothing. We have nothing to lose. I'm sorry I'm yelling again, aren't I?
No, you're fine. I would really, truly like to see them try to be in the conversation to get Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
If that is a trade that's able to be made, make that trade and get that guy.
Well, I didn't know about all this. I kind of did a little research on it. He actually said Detroit was a place he would come, right?
Oh, if I was him, I would say all 31 other teams.
Well, no, but I think that was specifically a question he answered was he would be willing to come to Detroit, and because of the clause in his contract, he has to approve where he's being drafted to. So,
okay. I don't
know. You guys let us know in the chat. I mean,
yeah, I don't
Ralph
know.
agrees with you though. He says
I would take him on a heartbeat, and I would feel.
I take him on a heartbeat, but use the rest. I don't know. People are going to say now they're what 2-6.
Yeah.
2-6. People are going to say, well, Rodgers is, and then everything, and then, but I mean the Vikings, Kirk Cousins. Why? Why is that guy allowed to win?
Did they win again today?
Yeah, they won again today.
Because that game was back and forth the whole thing.
Oh, Deshaun's calling me out. Deshaun's usually on my side. Are you serious? Butler would be the drawback in drafting young QB because it never works for us. I mean, who was the last QB we drafted that worked? Stafford?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Stafford was the last QB. We tried a couple since then. We've drafted young QBs. Blow was puppy dogging Kirk Cousins out of the tunnel today, out of uniform, not even playing. I mean, God, dude, I used to be able to pop them off like the olden days, Kitna, Batch, the whole deal. But I mean, it's like one of those things where it's like most of those people we never drafted. So I don't think a young QB is the answer anymore. If you saw the draft last year, didn't it take almost at least 15 or 20 rounds before a quarterback even went? I don't remember, but I could have sworn.
Well, there's only 7 rounds in the draft, so no.
That's what I'm saying, into the second round. So I don't
know. I'm sorry. You meant 15 or 20 picks. I thought you said 15 or 20
No, I
rounds.
might have. But again, I don't know. I watched the draft, but it's very loosely. So what do you think, Neil, about a young QB? Or do we find somebody existing?
I mean, I'm fine with it. We just need to find something. We need to find something that works. I think that there's more of a risk. I think going young, drafting a quarterback is more of a long-term play. But if the Lions' intent is to be competitive within the next 3 seasons and be able to be a team that can make a deep run in the playoffs, I don't see them doing that with a rookie quarterback. It's a gamble, man. You see teams miss on quarterbacks all the time, and are the Lions? I don't remember the last time the Lions got lucky enough to accidentally pick the right person. I will say that, and somebody said it earlier on, but this draft class has been playing very well. Even guys from last draft class too. I'm cool with Brad Holmes. I'm completely cool with Brad Holmes. I think that he knows what he's doing. It feels like he knows what he's doing. You have you have those young guys that he's brought into the team that are the ones that are making those plays and are the ones that are making those differences. Somebody that doesn't get enough praise is Aleem McNeil. That guy is he's a plug in the middle there, man.
Didn't he go out today?
He did just a little bit. I think he came back, but he's
I literally had never heard of him.
He was at San Diego State University or something silly like that. But really good football player. You look at Joseph, you look at Hutchison. Those guys both had great days today. I won't say great days. Kirby had a great day. Hutchison was getting double teamed a lot of it, so that's okay. If Hutchison's just drawing double teams, then that's what it does.
Yeah, Deshaun kills me. Does Deshaun know how to pick a good quarterback? He was anti-Stafford his entire life. Now he's thinking Tua? Deshaun, you're out of your mind. Next.
Oh, did he say Tua?
Yes, he said Tua.
Yeah. All right, Deshaun. Okay. Hey,
I'm just going hard at you because you were hard at me, Deshaun. But I'm telling you, you don't know anything about quarterbacks. So,
would you rather have Tua than Goff?
I'd rather have anything than Goff. I would.
You're not wrong.
Okay. Well, there's lots of different options.
I mean, Tua hasn't exactly gone out there and lit up the world. If that's what the comment was about, he's performing as a decent quarterback. It's not. What was he? The second pick?
They lost 4 in a row. I mean, they're playing like the Lions. They had a huge winning streak. They're losing. He got creamed. He shouldn't be playing next year. I mean, he shouldn't be playing right now, as far as I'm concerned, after seeing the abuse he took this year. But hey, that's up to them.
Yeah,
they're big boys.
But I mean, just across the board, the guys that Holmes has been bringing in, I'm fine with. They're not holding on to bad players. The one thing that I'm curious about, though, in terms of people who I feel are productive people, but don't get as much playing time regularly as what I feel that they should. What the hell is going on with Deshaun Elliott? When he plays, it doesn't seem like he plays bad enough to get benched. It doesn't seem like he doesn't seem like he plays bad enough to not get dressed the following week. And then when he comes out there, he makes plays. Like, I like Deshaun Elliott, but he was a healthy scratch for like 2 weeks. The only thing I could figure is maybe because of the timing of it, maybe they were looking at potential trade partners for him.
That might have been it.
That might be it.
Didn't want him knowing too much of he knows the scheme anyways.
Well, it's not knowing the scheme. It's just it's hard to
keep him healthy.
Yeah, it's hard to trade an injured person.
Right.
So I don't know what's going on there, but it's curious to me when they decide to not dress him, and I don't understand it.
All right, let's hit our sponsors real quick. Rain City Roar, you guys, we are sponsored by Montucky. You guys can go to their beer finder. They are in Michigan. They're all over this great state of Michigan. They're great guys. Support their beer. Tell them Rain City Roar sent you. I'm not even going to put up the ball one this week because Rick's not here. It's just all chicks this week for us. So they have some great merch as well. You can always do that. I don't know. I mean, there's been some changes at Detroit Sports Nation. They're a news company, man. We're just a couple of yuckles. So I don't know if we're sponsored by Gear Up Detroit Shop anymore. But hey, head over there and try the coupon code. People are going to want to buy some merch after this week for sure. What else we got here? Wait, I want to talk about this real quick. So other than staff, Detroit has never drafted a competent QB. Pete Harrington, etc.
It's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
But it's not my lifetime.
Yeah, that's right. You young kids don't remember the hard days. What else we got here? He's good, but he gets hurt way too much. Who's good? Goff? Oh, he's talking about Elliott, I think. I don't know. Who are you talking about, Mark? I'm confused. Let's do some react to Twitter, Neil. I got some stuff here. This is a good one.
What week are we talking about? That was posted.
That was posted today. But yeah, I mean, either way, it's every week, right?
It's valid. I mean, that's a valid question. They haven't been playing like they had. They came out the first 4 weeks and played great and were putting up a ton of points at a historic pace, and then they just fell off a cliff.
Right. Even all the injuries in the Packers, Lions haven't been able to move the ball in offense. It's a bit worrisome. Yeah, it's a lot worrisome. Driven by Detroit, put that up. It's always worrisome, but I mean that's the whole deal, right? We're Lions fans. I mean, it's always going to be a struggle. Rodgers, this is who you're talking about earlier, Neil. Last time Aaron Rodgers threw interceptions in one game was Week 15, 2017. Lions had 3 interceptions, 3 quarters. I think the stat was he'd only thrown 8 interceptions over his career against the Lions coming into today. So that's pretty impressive.
That was a hell of a showing by them today.
Yeah, no, that was great. And then Isaac had, we're big fans of the world of Isaac, and he had another one, egregious delay of game missed. I mean, you can see right there, the clock's at 0. He hasn't even clicked his foot to hike the ball yet. This happened 3, probably 4 times during the game. I mean, should we just give up on the refs? I mean, should we ever even mention the refs again, or is the NFL just never going to do anything?
Oh, I mean, they're people, man. People make mistakes. There's only so many of them. There's so many different rules and so many different people that they have to pay attention to during the game. Like I only really care about them when their inability to do their job correctly with all the technology that we have to be able to make the right decision and make the right call when those things are still looked at and still made incorrectly. I was, bringing it up today, the Hail Mary face mask thing that never happened. And then it was a hit to the face, but the finger went across the face mask, but never actually grabbed anything. And they called that a face mask, and they got another shot at the Hail Mary, and they got it, the Rodgers to Rodgers Hail Mary. And I broke my phone that night because I was watching that play. I was watching that on my phone at school, and my phone subsequently ended up on the other side of the room. Ran into a wall pretty hard.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one that's ever broke your phone.
Yeah.
Speaking of the cleat call, I wore my Twin Peaks shirt today, but I was going to wear my cleat shirt that you bought for us for that trip, and I couldn't find it. I don't know what happened to it. Pretty much, it was a shirt that had It didn't have a finger pointing up to a face mask and it said "Cleat faces here." What was that?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember.
I can't remember either. So Mark was talking about Tua. I was saying good gets hurt too much. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I think that he is probably in the top 50% of quarterbacks in the league. But at the same time, what good does that do you if he's hurt and not out there on the field? So.
Well, Austin's bringing the good questions again. Are you guys disappointed they traded Hawkinson? I'll go first on this.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I didn't want Hawkinson to leave. I mean, he made some big plays. He was he'd run after the catch. He played hard. He just wasn't playing enough. So I'm 50-50 on it. I know there was a bunch of stats running around about how him and Ebron had the exact same stats, but I think Ebron was here a lot longer than Hawkinson was. So I don't know. I'm 50-50 on it. What do you think, Neil?
It's a bummer because I like Hawkinson, and it's nice to know that you have somebody that is durable and somebody that has the potential to break a play. But at the same time, going back to this thing, if Ebron didn't drop passes, the fan base would have been up in arms about him going and not being a Lion anymore. But the whole thing is, when actually breaking down, I didn't expect to ever hear Ebron's name again before I saw this, before they traded Hawkinson. But Ebron was drafted 10th overall, played 4 seasons, averaged 3.3 receptions, 37 yards, and 0.26 touchdowns a game in 56 games. Hawkinson was drafted 8th overall, played 3.5 seasons, 3.8 yards per reception, or 3.8 receptions, 44 yards a game, and 0.3 touchdowns a game. They're almost the identical person.
Those the same amount of games?
Statistically, no. They're Ebron played 9 more games with the Lions, but
okay. I thought it was more than that. So okay, that's fair.
No, just 9 more games. But 3.8 receptions versus 3.3, 44 yards a game instead of 37, and then 3 touchdowns a game instead of 0.26. It's almost the same statistical performance out of the guy. So for them to put themselves in a situation where they were going to look at it and say, hey, we either have to pay this guy like Kelsey money to keep him, or we're going to get nothing for him and he's just going to walk and go somewhere else. I think that they made the right decision by trading him. They got a decent little haul off of it. And if they would have paid him, that would have handicapped next year the money problems kind of go away. We'll be in good shape money-wise, but this is the last year of Goff's contract where he's owed a lot of money, where his cap hit's big. And if we would have just signed up to jump right back into that same situation where we're paying credit cards with credit cards just to put a football team on the field, it wouldn't have been, in my opinion, the right long-term decision to make for the team, at least not for the next few years. It wouldn't have.
To answer that question, we both are like, either way, no, it probably wasn't.
I just have another jersey that is a former player.
Right. Yeah. No, that's some guy put that up this week. He was going through his closet on jerseys, and I was like, dude, don't even start with us. We all have that. So I guess to answer your question, we'll just put up after one game, Hawkinson had 9 for 70 with no touchdowns. The Lions tight ends, 3 for 9, but they had 2 touchdowns. So already I think we've won on the getting rid of Hawkinson, but we'll track that as the season goes on. I think overall it's going to be good in the long run.
It'll all depend on what we get out of those picks. So I mean, you look at what Miami has put together out of the picks that they got for Laramie Tunsil. They got Tyreek Hill. They got I believe Waddle and Bradley Chubb out of Laramie Tunsil. Like, that's what you're supposed to do with those picks and stuff. Like, turn those around and flip them around and make them work in your advantage and get people that can make an impact on your team. And we'll see what happens once the Lions actually make those picks or use those picks for something.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark, I don't know. You're looking at the wrong podcast here, because we just react to weekly stuff. And I can tell you a little bit about, I'll be honest. Everybody keeps talking about JMO. At this point, it doesn't even matter to me if he plays or not. You know what I mean? Do we agree the draft needs some dominant defensive players? I think that. Like I said, I'm no broadcaster. I'm no analyst. But I do not think we need a QB. I don't even think we need to draft a QB. I think there's plenty of QBs out there we could bring in. Neil?
No, I don't disagree with Mark here. I mean, I like that approach. Building the defense, get your get your young, big uglies through the draft. And I think that actually, I really do kind of agree with him here. I think that it's easier to find productive defensive players in the draft than it is to find productive offensive players in the draft. Just you don't have to catch the ball. You just have to be in the right place at the right time and tackle somebody, right? Or stop somebody from catching the ball. A lot of those things are coachable and whatnot. But I feel like when people are drafting offensive players, there's a certain amount of risk involved in that because you haven't seen them perform at a professional level. When you're drafting defensive players, there's not as much of a risk because you're on a heavier rotation through the defense. There's situational things that you can put them in there. It's not super unlike the offense, but I would, if I had an organization and I was in charge of building that team, the defense would be normally staffed and rotated with younger guys through the draft or something along those lines, and then or good deals in free agency, whatever it might be. But then offense, I would probably go after more of the proven NFL level, proven guys in the NFL especially the skill position stuff. I don't disagree with Mark.
All right. Excuse me. Let's move on to there's a really good one here, and I friggin' missed it. Hold on. Going to the Chicago game next week to witness start of winning streak. Heck yeah. Let's go, Joe. Let's go, John. Jameson Williams. Here we go, JMO, right? The JMO guy everybody's talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know when we'll see him, but I'm excited to see him. If he comes out there and Goff doesn't just immediately start turning the corner on his production, that is probably going to make me feel even better about going a different direction in quarterback for next season.
Okay.
He's been playing rough, man. It's been just the accuracy. The accuracy just is not there. There were a couple balls that got where his arm got hit and he was under pressure and stuff like that today. But the other stuff is just like, dude, you're looking like Aaron Rodgers out there. Hit the receiver in the hands.
Yeah, at this point, like I said, I think we got to work with what we got. If he's not out next week, then he's not there. But let's see if he makes a difference. I hope so. I mean, I'll hope anything, to make the defense. But I gotta say,
he'll be back next week. But
yeah, and Kirby Joseph played a great game today. I mean, he had a friggin' fantastic game, and I'm just excited to see the defense make some efforts. Now, I didn't know Rodrigo went out with a hyperextended elbow or something early, didn't he? Did he ever come back?
Yeah, he came back.
I didn't hear from him the whole game. No, so
he came back. That was an ugly one. Happy he seemed to be okay, but yeah, that thing went in the wrong direction. But yeah. I know there's times where we will sit here and we'll talk about, that one play made the difference in the game. I actually believe that today. And there was one play I think that really made a difference in the game, and it was tackling the Packers receiver right before the end zone. And I said to the table, I was like, cool, but I mean, the only way it's going to matter is if they get a turnover out of this.
Right.
Sure shit, they got a turnover out of it. That's a 7-point swing right there, man. That's the difference in that ball game today. That was a huge play. Knowing that they had their back against the wall and they could have easily just let the Packers score relatively easily, and they decided not to, and they put up a hell of a fight, and they ended up getting the ball out of it. It's like, shit, man. I like what they put out there today. I like it.
Towards the end of the game, it was starting to feel pretty familiar, but they played hard, and I mean, like I said, I'm just excited about the defense because, I mean, along with Austin, I'm done with Goff, and yeah, I saw why LA wanted to go. I mean, when I don't remember what it was. Somebody emailed me when that trade happened and said, "Whoa, LA got the better deal on that." No shit. Yeah, thanks for the fucking update. I mean, come on, Goff for Stafford. I mean, that was just that's a pull right there. But no, I don't know. I'm done talking about Goff. I guess there's nothing we can do, right? So
how about Jared Goff? What do you think about him?
Well, it was a wild fourth quarter, and Goff didn't help much. So let's
No.
talk about the fourth quarter. Holy moly. Everything and anything happened in the fourth quarter. The fumble out of bounds. I mean, it was just a fucking roller coaster. I've been pretty active on Twitter because I'm trying to get stuff for our Twitter reacts, and it's just like every time you refresh the page, it's the Lions are gonna fucking blow it, and the Lions are gonna win this. The Lions are gonna fucking blow it. I know that's how we all are every day, right? But it's just funny to see in real time. If you guys get a chance to check it out sometime, it's amazing.
Bring up Don's question here. So I was kind of hoping that the Lions would have more aggressively tried to shop Brockers at the trade deadline there. And I don't know if they did and there was just no buyers out there or what that situation was, but he's still on the team. He's still a healthy scratch, not playing. I completely agree with you. I think that I want to see Pascal for a couple more weeks and see what he ends up looking like, because he was relatively not involved from the draft up until a week or two ago, at least not that we've been able to see. And he's an interesting guy. He's definitely an interesting guy to me because he played at Kentucky and was like his best games were against the best teams that they played. And the part that I found curious, I think it was the game against Florida. I think it was a game against Florida. Real good highlight clip out there of that game, but he was all over the place in that game. He was playing defensive end. He was also playing defensive tackle. And he was a world wrecker when he was playing at tackle. Obviously, the guys in the NFL are going to be a little bit bigger and stuff, but that type of versatility to be able to bounce inside, bounce outside, I want to see more out of him. I want to get a couple more weeks to kind of see what kind of player he really is. But either way, I think that a pass rusher should still absolutely be a priority going into this next offseason.
Okay. Good talk. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once here. I apologize. Since when we need Detroit Rick? What the heck? We'd never fire Detroit Rick.
No, never.
I don't think.
Love the guy.
Can we even fire Detroit Rick if we wanted to?
Does anybody actually work here? Is there anything to get fired from?
So we talked a little bit about the defense coaches last week, and I wanted to kind of bring up this week because did anybody take over for Aubrey Pleasant, or did they just kind of just roll with it until they find somebody? Because I just brought up the Lions defense here, and it looks one person short. Our buddy Brian Duker's still there. Sean Dion Hamilton's still taking that William Clay Ford minority coaching assistantship to heart. Our defensive quality control of Addison Lynch is still there. But I don't see anybody. So I'm wondering, are they just going to roll with that position till the end of the year being empty? Or
I think Glenn's probably just taking over at that point.
Yeah. You don't really bring anybody on,
No.
8 games in the season and expect anything to happen. So we had Matthew Morris Player of the Week. If you guys want to jump on there and make a selection, jump and put your thoughts in the comments. It can be a player, it can be a defense, it can be whatever. But it's the Player of the Week, not the Play of the Week.
If you say anything other than Kirby Joseph, you're wrong.
Exactly. Well, yeah, it was it's going to be hard to argue Joseph today unless you want to say the defense as a whole. But definitely Deb had mentioned Matthew Morris was in that game today. So, hey, nice to see the Morris family still supporting us, and we appreciate you guys. So you guys select that Matthew Morris Player of the Week. If not, we'll just go with our boy there. Coming up next
Kirby's coming in heavy in the comments here.
Yep, exactly. Coming up next week. God dang, I didn't even look at the friggin' schedule. Did you look at the schedule, Neil? Who are we playing, boys?
Chicago.
All right.
And then
next week.
And then after that,
you guys are going to New York and Detroit, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 2 consecutive games. 2 states.
John took 2 selections, Jack Fox and Kirby Joseph. Jack Fox can't kick that ball. I think I messaged Neil last because like he got to boot that ball. That's why we're paying him so much money. So, but I'm pretty sure that we can all agree that Kirby Joseph is the Matthew Morris Player of the Week. So that's fantastic. And
that was a great game by him today.
Do you have a Detroit Rick story you can tell, Neil?
Do I have a story about him that I can tell?
We got so many Detroit Rick stories we can tell.
I mean, I have a lot of stories, but I don't know if any of them are okay for me to share without his permission first.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right.
My favorite one, I absolutely know that I wouldn't get his permission for. I'll tell you after this. But
okay, all right. If I'm not there, a part of it, it can't be your favorite. I mean,
it actually happened in Wisconsin, and you saw him after it happened.
I went back and passed out for a while.
Yep.
Night? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that was a rough. Went to the safe house that morning. You remember your code name for the safe house?
Yeah, Agent Tiddlywinks.
That's right. I'm Agent Bumpkin. I don't remember what Neil or what Rick is.
I don't know. You know what? Also, got a good point. Tight end played really well today too. The tight end played really well today too. So we'll give the tight ends and Jack Fox honorable mention, but the performance of the game, that would be Mr. Kirby.
Yeah, the one thing on Twitter, the Hawkinson hate, it was strong today for sure.
Was it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Again, is what it is. I think that was a good question you had earlier. I'm 50-50 on that. I don't care either way.
No, I mean he was a good person, a good player. He didn't do anything wrong. He had value.
Yeah. No. Well, now he's playing for the worst barbecue chef in the NFL, possibly the world. I don't know. For sure.
I came out of my comfort zone today because the Minnesota game was on in the corner and we could see it. And I've never really said this out loud, especially not in a forum like this, but
you're really not a Vikings fan.
I'm not a Vikings fan. I just really like that matte purple helmet. It's just such a nice looking helmet.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not going to bust your balls about that. I'm definitely not going to bust your balls about that. Don, anyone else over the fourth down calls? What do you mean, like going for it on fourth down? I don't know. I mean, kind of, but at the same time, like he had to. I don't know. Am I over it? No. Are we going to not see any more weird fourth down calls the rest of the year? No, we're going to see a lot of them, especially with the record.
I didn't mind the one that happened later in the game today. I mean, you're at a really weird spot. You're not kicking it. Yes, you could punt it, but chances at that range are probably higher that the ball would end up in the end zone, and you only net like 15 yards off of the punt anyways. So, like, why not try? I don't like the play call. I didn't like the play call.
The 4th and 3 where Jamal stumbled was typical. It was just SOL. Everybody was just thinking, of course he trips 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage to make it, give him another. But if you're that far down the field, okay, look, I'm going to say this. I'm over it if they're anywhere past their own 30 backwards. If they're inside the 30, let's just go for it. I mean, Jack Fox is just going to punt it out of the end zone at that point and give it to him on the 20. What's 10 yards? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, or the field goal is not going to be made. I mean, you saw them. Now, that's my question on that extra point. Did he pull that because he saw the guy diving, or did he pull that because it was a bad snap? Because that was a little bit of
both. I think it was a little bit of both. Also, give that guy an Emmy, like, for taking that dive like that. He got hit, but
kicked his leg around.
So dramatic. It was so dramatic. But damn, no, the I looked at that fourth down call that we were just talking about today as more of a, you know what, we're going to go for it because it is the right decision to make at this point in time. And if we know that we're doing it with a little bit of a shorter field than normal, but we don't care. We think that we're better than you, and we think that we can stop you. It's worth taking that risk. And you know what? I wish these guys would play more consistent, because I am so tired of being on this emotional fucking roller coaster every week about how I feel about them.
Well, they had mentioned at the half, the sideline reporter came back, and it wasn't Aaron Andrews. I don't think it was the other gal. Anyways, they came in and said said that Dan Campbell told them that was the best overall first half they played the whole year. I don't know about that. I mean,
That was the dude. I remember seeing him.
I talk about playing a complete game, right, all the time.
Yeah.
That's the whole playing a complete game in all sections. You're not going to have every offensive. You're not going to have every special teams. You're not going to have every defensive play. But to play solid and play, 60, 70% or better on all those teams is going to amount to more than just the offense playing great or the defense playing great, which is what we've seen. So, But for Dan Campbell to say that was the best overall, well-rounded first half he's seen, makes me question if he's starting to go senile already, because it wasn't. There was the game that we won in the early part of the year against the Commanders. That was the best first half I've seen from the Lions in 15 years, 20 years. I don't know.
But they were also playing the Commanders.
Yeah, well, the Commanders almost beat the Vikings today. I mean, they only lost by, I think, a field goal. They're not great, but they're not.
No, they're not. No, but they don't have Aaron Rodgers on the team either. Until that guy hangs up the cleats and never suits up again, he's always going to be a threat.
Yeah, I don't know. After today and after what I've seen the rest of the season on highlights, I don't want to encourage for the second game of the season, but I think he's pretty much done deal.
Yeah. I just want to say, like, as weird as the season has been, we can still go 11-6, man.
Yeah. Well, I had messages from my Green Bay buddy. This is the message chain from my Green Bay buddy here. Hold on a second. It was Rogers trying his hardest to give you guys this game. To which I replied, "Yeah, you can try all day. Ain't going to help." And he put, "I wouldn't be so sure this Packer team is somehow terrible." Even the Green Bay fans are done with Aaron Rodgers, which is awesome to see. But of course, that's what happens, right? When they get up in their age and they start to kind of fade out a little bit, everybody abandons them. So,
at least you got to give us, like, what's it been? 4, 5, 6 weeks that they're jumping off the bandwagon.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Packers fans are who we thought they were. I mean, they'll jump off the bandwagon like that. Honestly, that's the one thing you got to give us. We are the best fan base.
Most loyal, I'll give you that.
Every week.
The good job to the crowd today at Ford Field. You guys stayed there and you stayed loud, and that's that home field advantage that we were talking about earlier. It's not just that you're playing on your home turf; it's that the crowd impacts the game, and you guys were loud, and it was impacting the play calling. And man, it was awesome to hear, because that I could actually hear that at the bar, like over everything else that was going on, was how loud the crowd was today, especially towards the end. So great job.
We'll end on this question. Never in a million fucking years.
What?
Austin's question there at the bottom of the screen.
A few years ago, yeah.
Yeah, no. All right, well, we'll be back next week. If we're going to unfire Rick and bring him back into the fold, and then we'll see you guys then. Until then, for Rain City Roar and Detroit Sports Nation, I'm Butler.
And I'm Neil.
And peace out, bitches.